Hi, this is Shirley Herb Lady in Alaska. Anyway, I'm going to talk about cayenne today. Cayenne is one of the best herbs that you could take, and it helps with your circulation, it helps with your digestion, it helps with your brain, you name it, and it helps. But it is hot, but the only thing is it gets less and less. It was one of the first herbs I ever taught about, and when I was having my classes in my home, I started out with 1/8 of a teaspoon, and then I went to 2/8, and then I went up to a tablespoon. I got up to a tablespoon. It took a couple of months, and I could drink it. Didn't even faze me, because your body can get used to it as you take it slowly. It can come in my shop. I sell it in capsules. I sell it by the pound. I sell it by the liquid. It's in a lot of herbs that I sell it in, because cayenne is the one that opens up the veins and arteries so the other herbs can get there. And lobelia is, Dr. Christopher used to say, lobelia is the smart herb that takes the other herbs to the organ that needs to be repaired. What it can do for your body. It can do so much, but I want to tell you what it did for this little girl. I taught night schools. They called me up and they wanted me to teach night schools. At the schools, I took 8 different schools and went to them for years and years and years and years. They had night schools. They charged the person who was taking the class, but they didn't pay me anything. All I did was go and teach, and it was helping the community. And that's what I was doing. I was helping the community. And so most classes I had 8 to 10 people, but this one class in Big Lake, I only had one person. It was a woman, and she came to every class, and she was so interested. She never missed a class, and we studied cayenne. Well, later on, that was in the winter, and then later on in the summer, her husband had built a swing for her daughter. Her daughter was 7 years old, and she was swinging, and she decided to jump off. She jumped off, and the metal swing hit the back of her neck and cut it open. And when the husband was there and seen it, he put it together with his hands and started screaming for the wife. And she started out with the towel, and then she seen what it was, so she turned around and ran back in. She remembered the class, and so she ran back in, got the cayenne, and then ran back out. And they sprinkled the cayenne over the back of the neck, and then put the towel on the neck, and then they ran to the hospital. And when they did all that, when they got to the hospital, they said, "What is that that red stuff back there?" And she said, "Well, it's cayenne." And they said, "All we know is it stopped the bleeding and it saved the girl's life." Well, she was so thankful that she came knocking at my door about a week or 2 later, and she told me about it and told me, "Thank you. Thank you very much for teaching that class." If there was only one person, and I would share with you that if there's only one person, go on and do it, because that one person, you could save their life. And then one summer, they were singing up around us. We got woods on 3 sides of us and a highway, a road in front of us. And mice was coming in our garage. I mean, there was like 25, 50 mice. And they even ate we had a can of peaches, and they ate the can of peaches, middle, and then they ate all the peaches. And so what I did is I took cayenne and put it in front of where the doors was. And when my daughter came home from Bible school, she said, "Mom, what is that red stuff in front of the doors?" She had watched a movie or something. I never did see the movie about this red stuff. But I said, "It's cayenne. It stops the mice from coming in." And we finally got rid of all mice because of the cayenne. So it did help, but she laughed and I laughed about what she thought it was. And so the cayenne, you can use it for many, many, many things. And all cayenne pepper is not the same. Make sure that you get organic cayenne pepper, because if it's not organic, a lot of times they put a lot of pesticides on it, because worms love cayenne. And they go, and cayenne stimulates and increases the blood flow, and it gets the blood to the healing nutrition to where it is needed. Cayenne is a herb which you should use every day, and you should have it in the kitchen, you should have it in the bathroom, and you should have it in your car. So when you need something, if somebody starts bleeding, just dump the cayenne on. Or if you're bleeding, dump the cayenne on. Or if you got an upset stomach, dump the cayenne on. If you got indigestion, put a little bit of cayenne in. Or if you got cold feet. I have a lot of the people, when we have the Iditarod, they put cayenne, they first put a sock on, then they put another sock with cayenne in it. They don't put the cayenne right next to the feet, but the sock, they have one sock on, and then they put the cayenne, and it keeps the feet warm while they're out there in the snow and in the ice, and it keeps them warm, the cayenne does. And they put it in the gloves like that too. Most of the time you don't put it directly to your skin. You put one glove on, then you put the cayenne in the next glove, and it literally just starts heating you up. There is no other herb that moves the blood faster to the brain, and people don't realize that. A lot of times when they're not getting enough blood to the brain, it's lack of circulation, and start taking cayenne. You can put it in almost anything. But if you're going to cook it with it, always put it in last. Don't cook with it and heat it up, because it changes the structure of the cayenne. You always, after like my chili or something, I would fix the chili, then I put the cayenne after I turned the chili off and then mixed it up, because you don't want to heat and change the structure of it. Getting more blood to the brain can be a positive effect. It helps with vision, it helps with stress, it helps with thinking, it helps with memory. It helps, it's the first step of healing any, like if you had any brain that's been damaged, it will help to heal it if they can get the blood there. Cayenne is most effective for the heart, for the blood circulation. It is a miracle for congestive heart failure. It is specific for anyone who has any type of circulatory problems, such as high or low blood pressure, elevated cholesterol. It helps with that. It helps with varicose veins. Cayenne can relieve pain. It helps the blood to move more through the body. When the blood moves, the blood is what carries the nutrition and everything to repair and repair the body. Cayenne can dissolve blood clots, and it's real high in vitamin C. It can strengthen your veins. It has proven to clean them. It has and regain the elasticity. A lot of people, they get stiff when they get old, and you start taking cayenne. It's not like that anymore. You get more agile and everything like that. I have read about diabetics where they have a lot of trouble with their feet if they start taking cayenne. This one even had gangrene, and they kept, and now I'm not talking about a teaspoon. I'm not talking about 2 teaspoons. I'm talking about lots of cayenne and more cayenne. What you do, you start out with a little bit and keep adding and keep adding and keep adding till your body can handle all this. And they got rid of the gangrene. Cayenne helps to stop bleeding of the ulcers in the blood. Cayenne is even listed in the Merck Index as a stomach stimulator. If the person has digestive problems, cayenne will help. It helps with, if you have a lot of gas, it helps with being stagnant. Cayenne stimulates the pancreas to release the enzymes, even promotes and delivers the gallbladder. It helps to release bowel. All the action increases your digestive system. Start out with a small amount, like 1/8 of a teaspoon, and move up. Increase slowly. Cayenne is not for all types of people. If your body is running hot all the time, you only take a little bit of cayenne. But if you're a cold person and cold feet and cold hands, then you do more. There is no other herb that stops bleeding faster than cayenne. Cayenne pepper has been proven to protect your DNA from the attack of any kind of chemical. It will protect your cells, even from cigarette smoke or any other pollutants. Cayenne will help. Cayenne has the ability to rebuild tissues in the stomach. It heals the stomach and ulcers. It is a catalyst, carrying all other herbs quickly to other parts of the body. It is needed to increase, and it gives you energy. A lot of people uses it for energy. Now, cayenne is used for pain relief, arthritis, female complaints. I had a lady that came in and she had bled for years and years, for 40 days. Every 40 days, I mean, she would keep bleeding 40 days, and then she would stop for a couple of days, and then 40 more days. And she said, do you have anything that stopped bleeding? I said, yes, I have Cayenne and I have yarrow. And so she said, I'll take both. She didn't just take one, she took both. And it took us about 2 or 3 months. And then I think it was the 4th or 5th month, she wasn't bleeding for 40 days. She got it down to 4 days. And we just thought that was so neat. But you just can't give up because, see, it depends on your body, how much your body needs and how much is out of balance, what it needs. But Cayenne will stop the bleeding, and yarrow will too. It helps to balance the thyroid. It's a male tonic. It helps respiratory. My husband, he had this cough just a couple of weeks ago, and he was spitting up blood, and my husband had never spit blood. So I said, okay, start taking Cayenne, and he did. And within 3 or 4 days, it stopped. I mean, you got to know. It's so important to know about these herbs because you put up with something and you could get really, really sick or get really, really healthy. I mean, it takes knowledge about these herbs, but God gave them to us. And if you don't use the herbs, I would say you're using God's knowledge in vain because God gave us these herbs, and if we're not using them, we're saying, God, you didn't know what you was doing because these herbs are for our health and our healing, and the Bible says that. But many people, they're too lazy to learn, and I've learned all this information. I give it to them freely if they just come and ask. And the main thing is my faith that I don't give up on them. Because a lot of times after a bottle, oh, it don't work. I say, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. And when they said, hey, it works, it's working. Because the body, you never know, the body could not get there, especially with circulation. And this Cayenne, I'm going to start adding more Cayenne to people that are going to be hot, but it's going to help them. It helps with cold and flu, it helps with sore throats, it helps with inflammation, it helps with shingles, it helps with vitiligo, it helps with normalized blood pressure, it stops bleeding, it stops heart attacks, it controls high cholesterol, it helps with acne, it helps with your stomach and your kidney, and shock. If you ever seen somebody rock back and forth, and the death in the family just happened, or somebody's in shock and they talking, funny and everything, start giving them Cayenne in hot water, maybe with a little bit of lemon, and it will stop the shock when people goes into shock. And so that will help. It helps with to restore your vitality. It gives you more energy because the blood is getting through. It relieves headaches, it relieves fever, it relieves abscess. In Mexico, they knew about hot peppers back 2500 BC. Cayenne was introduced to Britain from India in 1548. But the natives in Mexico, they eat the Cayenne pods like we eat donuts. They just eat them every day. They just really, really like them. Cayenne is the main food in Asia Minor. Now listen to this. The average person over 100, and then they have some people that sometimes they play polo at 150 years old, but they all take Cayenne and they don't die of diseases. What they die of is a fall or an accident. They never get sick. And so if you don't want to get sick, just a lot of Cayenne in your body. It's really funny. When people eat a lot of Cayenne and they're the ones that die out in the desert, did you know the vultures will not touch them? If they have Cayenne in their body. They will not, when they go down and smell the body, they will not eat. So if you don't want to if you know you're going to die in the desert, a vulture, I just thought that was so neat. Cayenne can do wonderful in the toning, rebuilding the heart. It keeps the top condition. It just helps. Enjoy your Cayenne.